You know, most times they don't report it. You know the reason why they don't? Because we are quick to jump to judgment. Oh, that's because he or she was dressed this way. Oh, that's because he or she flirts. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Hey guys, it's Dy'mond's dad. I've had time to calm down. As I promised earlier, I was going to present facts, which includes text messages and a video of the abuse that Dy'mond has suffered under the hands of Jason, known on social media as King Sid. It's really troubling, and this is something that many people think it happens to a certain group of people. It wouldn't happen to me, but it's a very serious subject. And we did it as a family. We respect people's privacies. Everybody have their privacies. And I know a lot of Dy'mond's life is on social media, and so is Jason, King Sid. When I found out about what had happened, which I'm going to get into later, I didn't like it. It didn't feel good as a dad, as somebody who trusts both his daughter, Dy'mond, and thought that I could trust Jason. But I had to really dig in deep to be that bigger person. And even though it's something that I never thought that never even crossed my mind that it could happen to Dy'mond, but I had to really find out the best way to handle the situation. So we were handling the situation behind the scenes. However, as I had posted earlier, that Jason came out with just some made up story. Him and his buddy, whatever his name is, Nate, went on social media trying to blast Dy'mond. Now, I read some of the comments, and look, everybody has the right to react, and you guys most of you are her supporters. You know, some people watch, but they're not really supporters. They're looking to hate on people or whatever it may be. But most of you have given Dy'mond that support. I forever are reading the comments on some of her videos, and the support is overwhelmingly positive. And she's my daughter, and any one of you out there, if that was your relative, you would feel good about how people out there are really loving her and taking care of her. And Dy'mond is a very good person. She's kind-hearted. She always looks at the positive sides of things. And sometimes she may even come across a little bit naive. And it comes with age that people go through certain experiences, and then later they able to come out of that. But without going any further, I'm going to talk about the situation. First, let me say this. This thing there's a saying, res ipsa loquitur. This is Latin for let the thing speaks for itself. So therefore, I'm going to present these evidence, text messages, and like I said, the video, and you make your own judgment. And these things have timelines. So there's times associated with what I'm going to say. So I'm going to be putting up on the screens as I'm reading through the order of how things happened and who were involved, so that way you can better follow. So if you think maybe you may have missed something, I'd advise you to maybe go back, watch it again, and to really make sure you get a good grasp of the story, because it's very important to educate, to use this not only to bring light to the subject, but also to educate everyone out there that's going through this. And maybe, there's different ways to handle situations, but this might be one of the better ways that you may want to consider. So, as you guys know, there's been some famous people involved in abuse. For instance, you have Nicki Minaj that talked about it. All of the things I'm saying right now, you guys can go ahead and Google. Just Google the person's name and put abuse next to it, and you'll see the stories. So like Nicki Minaj, for instance, not too long ago, she was in an abusive relationship. And people always say, why do you stay? Why didn't you? If you haven't experienced it, if you haven't studied about that type of stuff, it's going to be difficult for you to understand. So I would advise those of you that are quick to jump to conclusion, do some research. It's easy. Just Google things. Google things about abuse. Just find out what the statistics are. So people have died over this type of stuff. And some of you want to make fun of it or whatever it is, but you know what? The fun ends right now. So like I said, there's Nicki Minaj, there's Rihanna. You know, these people you guys can identify with because they're famous, rich, they have resources, but you know, there's something that we called in psychology or psychiatry, when psychology called learned helplessness. Some of you may have heard that. But what that is pretty much, it's where you're put in a position that you feel so weak that you're not able to defend yourself. And sometimes it takes time for you to get to that position. And as you're getting drawn into this, you don't notice it. By the time you notice it, you're too weak to help yourself. And they've done experiments about this. And one of the experiments that they've done is like putting a mouse in a cage where every time the mouse is trying to go out of the cage, they get electric shock. So because they kept getting the electric shock, over time, that mouse kind of won't, even if you leave the door open, the gate open for it to go out the cage, it won't go. That's learned helplessness. Because it learned that when I get to that door, I'm going to get an electric shock, even when there's no shocks to be given to that mouse. It's the same thing as when someone is being abused. So sometimes it starts out as a love story. You know, you meet the person, they love you, they this, they're that, or whatever, but the person, at times there are signs, but because you're in it, you don't get to see it. And other people may see it, but a lot of times, even when other people see it, they don't want to come out to you to say anything because they don't want you to lash out on them about, you know, thinking like maybe you're jealous of their relationship or whatever. You guys get the point. But some of the other people that's been in abusive relationships that are very famous is like Michael Jackson. Very well documented that he used to be abused by his dad. And most recently, most current, has been this thing going on with R. Kelly, where actually charges have been brought up against him, where all these years he's had his compound with so many women, some living in the same houses, whatever they're doing, and he just, whether they were like young, old, when I say old, like, you know, 20s, 30s or whatever, that these women, sometimes they were people that were educated, that were like professional people that he was able to draw, that were drawn to him, and he used that to his advantage, where he made these people basically like his little slaves. So this is real, people. This is real. So this isn't a joke, and I'm not out here, I didn't come here to bash Jason, but while I try to do this in the adult way by getting his parents involved, and I didn't confront him straight on, because one of the worst things you can do is confront the person straight on when you're very emotional, and things like this usually don't end well. So there's a way to approach it. There's a professional way to approach it. So I've been lucky enough, and I've been blessed with, you know, that God has given me this opportunity with an education where I've been exposed to learn about these type of things. I mean, I know I'm going on or whatever, but I feel really very emotional about this. But, you know, I just want to give it to you guys raw, and I'm going to go ahead and get into this. But I'm going to go back to June 5th this year, 2019. This was like Dy'mond and Jason. They had done a video way back, like before this time or whatever. And it was, you know, the audience kind of liked them together or whatever. The most recent time that I can remember, back in June, so I have the text message here from Jason, okay? Normally, you know, anybody that Dy'mond's friends with or whatever, a lot of them have my phone number, and I'm always at reach for them. So he texted me. This was at 7:47 p.m. I'm actually was at work. And he sent me this text saying, "Do you know where Dy'mond is?" And I answered, "No." He says, "I'm calling, but no response. Is she still in Boynton Beach?" He said, "I text her. I haven't gotten a response. She's been there since 2, and I'm checking her location, and she's at a house." Now, Think about this, people, for a minute. He has her location. They're not dating. Okay? So if she's got something to hide from somebody, why would she put that person on her location? Think about that for a minute. And then so I said, let me try to call her. I said, it's going straight to voice. It's going straight to voice. Her battery might be discharged. Then he went back and sent me a picture of a house. So he basically sent me the house where she was at. He says, do you know whose house this is? He said, I find it strange. She's been there that long, especially when I sent her a message and it said delivered and it went back to not delivering. Now, this was before they started dating. They were just doing videos together or whatever. I found it for me, it was a little bit weird that he's texting me these things because I'm not used to that type of stuff. We are, as a family, have each other's locations and we use it for safety. We don't use it to like spy on them. That stuff doesn't, we don't do that kind of stuff here. So then I said, I don't know. He says, all right, thanks. I said, you're welcome. The text message ended like at 7:57 p.m. I was about to leave work and I said, you know what, let me give him a call because it really kind of bothered me a little bit. But I'm like, okay, let me just have a talk with this guy because he's obviously not used to relationships. I'm gonna go ahead and call him. So I called him and we talked for over an hour. It was like kind of like a father-son type conversation where I explained to him how Dy'mond is, who Dy'mond, the kind of person that Dy'mond is, and that he had nothing to worry about. And I said, if she's somewhere, now I knew where she was because I knew that family quite well. I know the father, the mother, I know the family quite well. But I didn't think at the time that was his place because, again, why? That's back in June. So you guys can go back and look at some videos or whatever to see when the two of them started dating or whatever it is. Okay? So I talked to him and I explained and I'm like, you know what, Jason? If you're interested in Dy'mond as her father, somebody that knows her quite very well, that knows almost everything that she does, I probably know 80% of whatever Dy'mond does because we have that kind of close relationship. If I were you, I said, you must have probably got her upset or something and now you're worried looking for her. He's like, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. It's really my fault. It's really my fault or whatever. I said, okay, you don't have nothing to worry about. I'm just letting you know you don't have nothing to worry about because I know where she is and I know what's going on where she is. So you have nothing to worry about. Well, all I could say to you is you have to treat her right. And I said, because Dy'mond had told me prior that I don't understand, like the way he talks to me is not the same as he talks to his mother, his sisters, or whatever. He has this thing that a little bit disrespectful at times or whatever. And I brought that on to him. I brought it up to him because Dy'mond had already told me about it, So I said to him, when you talk to Dy'mond, just think of her as one of your siblings. And if you go that route, I guarantee you, Dy'mond will be around you 24/7 because Dy'mond is that type of person. She's attracted to just people being nice overall. So you don't have to put that front that you're tough. You don't have to do that. I said to him, I'm her dad. I don't act that way with her. I treat her with respect. So it's coming from a place that I know. So take on that advice. So anyways, that was then. We had an LA trip for like 5 days. It was me, Dy'mond, him, and one of his friends. I don't want to mention his name because he has nothing to do with that. And the LA trip, as you all know, pretty much most of you, everywhere Dy'mond's going, she gets invited so many places. Coachella, Cardi B's release party, what's the other thing? BeautyCon. So all these trips, most of them, they pay for her to go there because of her popularity and everything else. And all of this, and I credit you who's been giving her support that she's been able to do all these things. So these boys, the two boys, had never been, meaning Jason and his friend, they had never been to LA. So Dy'mond said, Daddy, she was invited actually to go to BeautyCon. She had the VIP invite or whatever. So, and she was also bringing along her best friend, Jasmine. So she said, Daddy, you know, oh, we're going on another trip. So with me, it doesn't matter. Dy'mond calls, I want this, I need you here, I need you there. She never even have to ask me, can you come with me? She calls me, said, Daddy, or she texts me, Daddy, I've been invited to this. I'm like, okay, Dy'mond, tell me when. Once she tells me this, and I ask her who's going, she tells me, I booked the tickets. If in this case, for instance, you know, I know Jason's earning some money or whatever, and his friend is. So I just tell her that, you know, and Jasmine, whatever. So I said, you know, I'm going to book the tickets or whatever. Well, actually, we booked our tickets. I think we booked ours. I don't remember because we've been on so many trips or whatever. But no, typically I'll just book the tickets, and if somebody has to refund me, they refund me. Actually, Jason's friend, we didn't book the tickets for him, and I don't think we booked it for Jason either. I don't remember, but one of the trips I know we did. But typically that's how it goes. So we went there. There needs to be someone who's actually over 21 that can rent a car. You know, some of the hotels, especially 4 or 5 star hotels, when you're talking about those, you need to be at least 21 to get a room or whatever. So I set up everything and we went on that trip. Now, Dy'mond had given me warning signals about his personality, that he's immature, he's got to be the center of attention, and like he doesn't really respect her around their peers, like, you know, other people that do YouTube or whatever. He typically won't like acknowledge her as this is my, you know, whatever it is, my girlfriend, whatever. He typically won't do these things. So it so happened that while we were there in the hotel, I was downstairs waiting because I was going to take them somewhere. It was Dy'mond and Jason, and they came downstairs in the lobby, and Dy'mond said to me, and you know, I put in a video clip of that.
Jason never cares when I'm hungry. Me.
You don't care either, because let me tell you something. This girl postmated Chick-fil-A only for herself.
No, what?
And I didn't get any.
Gus.
Yo, stop ripping my hair. I told you that.
I was not trying to do that.
That hurt. I hate when you do that shit. Look.
She came to me with Jason there. She's like, Daddy, he's such a girl. Like, and she's like, he's so immature. And I was like, okay, Dy'mond, what is it? And she's like, I just touched his hair, and then he just went like ballistics on me. And I'm like, and Jason was like, no, I did it. And then Jason was like, well, Dy'mond, you had the camera in your hand, so why don't you go ahead and show your dad? And as Dy'mond showed me the video, he walked away. So I watched the video, and I noticed Dy'mond touching his hair, because Dy'mond is like very affectionate type person. So she was touching his hair, and then he got upset. And I believe that Dy'mond, afterwards was like trying to say to him, okay, like, you know, try to say it's not a big deal or something like that, you know. But that was one of the times that I was there, and Dy'mond confronted what happened to his face. Dy'mond has that habit. She's not afraid to tell me things in front of her friends, whether it be boyfriends or whatever. Now, speaking of this, you might be sitting there and be like, oh, well, what kind of dad, blah, blah. Let me tell you something. When you push your child away, when you push your loved one away, whether you judge them, they tell you something, and you're quick to jump to conclusion, and you don't give them the benefit of the doubt, what do you expect? How do you expect when there's a problem for that person to come up to you and say, hey, this is what's going on? Now, I'll challenge you. You need to go check this out. Like I said, Google all these things about people that's been abused, that's been raped. Women, most times. Sometimes it's little kids, sometimes it's boys, sometimes it's men. You know, when they're raped, when they're abused, you know, most times they don't report it. You know the reason why they don't? Because we are quick to jump to judgment. Oh, that's because he or she was dressed this way. Oh, that's because he or she flirts. Let me tell you something. Oh, I know I did that earlier, and you know, people made this into a meme or whatever. I know it's funny, ha ha ha, but it is what it is. I put myself in this position. I don't care what anybody does to anyone. You walk away. No No one ever had that right to to lay a finger on you without your permission. No one. Not your mom, not your dad, I don't care. I know people have different ways that they raise their kids, you know, and I understand about discipline or whatever, but sometimes it starts off with like, okay, doing this. I actually did that once to Dy'mond because she tried to turn up the volume while I was trying to tell her something, and her friends were there. They witnessed it. You know, that hurt me that I did that to her because I was trying to talk to her because she had me like calling her, trying to get her, Dy'mond, where are you? Blah, blah, blah. But it was that quick reaction. That's the only time I've ever put my hands on my daughter. I did this, but I had to hold my ground. You know that? I had to. Because Dy'mond was being fresh in front of her friends. She was only, what, 13, 14, 13, whatever it was. But I had to teach her, you're not going to embarrass me in public. So I don't believe in this. I don't believe in that type of pun. I don't believe in it. But that was the only time. She's 18 years old. But every time you got to check your child. So I'm not saying everybody has their ways of disciplining their kids. So when I did that, you know what hurt me the most? Is that I felt that I embarrassed her in front of her friends. I should have never done that to her. It hurt. I'm gonna take a pause. So I'm back. So I'm gonna get straight to this, to all the facts or whatever. This is back in August 8th. This was while we were in LA. Jason texted me and he said, she's mad, speaking about Dy'mond. She's mad at me because she thinks I'm only thinking of myself. When in reality, I've been actually talking to so-and-so so we can get some videos, in for her. But I don't know. I guess she's not seeing it, honestly. Just really been putting in the effort. So I responded to him. I said, just give her a little recognition around people. This is again speaking of Dy'mond. I said, just give her a little recognition around people that she's meeting for the first time. If not, she'll turn cold. He said, I will, thanks. Then I said, she either sees you guys as a couple or not. She doesn't want to be in between. And he's like, got you. Now, the reason why I know what to say to him is because Dy'mond and I are always in communication. So whenever something happens in the relationship that bothers her, she tells me. And this is the same conversation that I had, if you remember earlier in the video, that I've had with Jason, as far as when he tried to reach out to me for the first time. I opened up to him and let him know that you can call, text me whenever. I'm here for you, and I'm as well as I am for Dy'mond, because I believe a healthy relationship is good for the both of them. So it cannot be healthy if I'm taking sides. It cannot be healthy if it's all about Dy'mond. It cannot be healthy if it's all about Jason. So my job with my experience or what have you is to help them build a healthy relationship. And the fact he reached out to me, that made it easier for me to go out now and offer myself to him. So at times, guess what? He's told Dy'mond, oh, I feel like your dad isn't already, no, okay? So this is what the abuser does. They isolate people that are close to you, that can help you. They pull you away from these people so that way they can have that control over you. With that trip, remind me of, shout out to Miami the Kid. It remind me that of one of Dy'mond's friends, he's also a YouTuber, that we went to Atlanta one time, and Dy'mond said to me, like, Dad, I told him that you were coming, because again, I was booking the tickets or whatever, and he's like, nah, I don't want your dad, I don't want to deal with parents because parents are too judgmental. And Dy'mond said, no, my dad isn't like this. Just trust me. He was adamant about me not coming, or he said to her, it's like, you know what, if he's coming, I'm not going to go. So Dy'mond said, just trust me. Trust me. So he came. When I say we hit it off from the airport, We hit it off from the airport. So he even said, oh man, we need to do a collab. I don't know what we're doing a collab about because I have 0 posts, people. You know, I do have an Instagram account, but I have nothing there. So yeah. So again, it's that family friendly. Dy'mond's Friends is Dy'mond's Friends is our family. This is how we deal with everybody that we deal with. Okay, so what happened after the when we came back from the trip, LA trip, which was I believe it was like August 13th. It was around the time, 12th or 13th, whatever it was, that we came back. Shortly after that, I believe it was the same day or the day after. It was a Wednesday, August 14th, roughly a month ago, that I was at work. This was like around 8:08 p.m. And Dy'mond texts me an address. So she texts me the address and she says, address to studio. So I'm like, are you trying to send these texts to someone else? She's like, no. She says, are you coming to the studio? And I was like, tonight? And she's like, so I just got on the phone, called her, and I said, Dy'mond, what's going on? And she told me about that she was going to record her music. And that morning, she told me, Dad, I'm going to start rapping or whatever. And I'm like, Dy'mond, you have no experience. She's like, you know, Daddy, I got this or whatever. So she wrote her rhyme. And then by nighttime, it was at 10:30, I believe, that we went to the studio. Now, this studio is through people that Jason knew. What happened that day, I will never forget. Because I walked into Dy'mond's room and I just could tell, you know when you could tell when something's wrong? And but I didn't know like what to say because, you know, I just walked in and I gave her that look and then she's like, what? And I'm like, something going on? And she's like, okay, well, she's like, well, you know how I tell you this, like, about how Jason is, like, you know, he's very, like, violent, whatever, and all that stuff. And then I said, yeah. And then she lifted up her neck. And there was a bruise mark. I said, what happened? She's like, he tried to choke me. And I was like, what'd you say? She's like, he tried to, I said, no. I said, no. I was like, I yelled. I've never yelled so hard. I just screamed. I'm like, I yelled so loud. Dy'mond left the room. She left the room. And so I chased her out. I said, Dy'mond. And then, so I didn't know what was going on. And she was like, Daddy, like, why are you yelling at me? I said, Dy'mond, I'm not yelling at you. I'm just mad. I'm mad. I'm like, how can, she's like, so it just went back and forth. We were going, and then she's like, I was like, wait, has he done any? She's like, well, 2 times prior, he had kind of did this to me. And, you know, actually, like, the day that she told me, like, when she explained to me that day that what had happened or whatever, she showed me how he did like this. And she said, Daddy, I could not breathe. I could not breathe. I was trying to tell him to get off. I could not air. Nothing was coming through. Nothing. You know, when I said that was like a sharp knife going through my heart. And the thing is, I'm picturing this thing. And that's the worst. Like when you have to like imagine something like that. And I said, Dy'mond, this happened twice before, 2 times before, and you didn't tell him. She's like, no, the first 2 times she didn't think nothing of it because he was kind of like basically restraining her or whatever it was, like holding her up because he was trying to make his point, whatever was going on. But it wasn't in a way that she couldn't talk or whatever. She's like, this time, Daddy, when I could not talk and I saw my life flash before my face, and when he finally let go, I was just glad that he let. I said, Dy'mond, where did this happen? She's like, in the house. I said, where was I? She said, Denzel was downstairs. And she said, I froze. I froze, Daddy. I froze. I didn't know what to, I just froze. And part of me is trying to, like, I'm still not really understand. It's just something that I don't know how to explain. So with us going back and forth, Dy'mond said, I'm going to do a video, Daddy. This is usually how she reacts to everything. I'm going to do a video. I'm going to this not. And then she was going, I said, Dy'mond, stop. She's like, no, Daddy, you're not going through it. I'm going through it or whatever. I'm doing it. I said, no, Dy'mond, you're not doing a video. You cannot do a video about this. Not because I didn't think that it was appropriate. Actually, I didn't think at the time that it was appropriate. Everything, you have to take a pause, people. You have to take a pause. Take a pause and think. Something clicked and said, you are a medical professional. To me, like, I'm thinking like, okay, this is my daughter or whatever, but on top of that, I'm a medical professional and I've taken the Hippocratic Oath. Some of you might know what that is, but I took it twice for both of my doctorate degrees, people. And please don't look at this as like braggadocious or whatever. I don't care what you call it. It doesn't matter to me. Because there's a reason for everything. Maybe the path that God had chosen for me to be a doctor was for me to react in a manner this time around where I don't put my daughter's life, nor my life, nor Jason's life in danger, even though he's the perpetrator. Because you know what the Hippocratic Oath says? First, do no harm. That's for every doctor that's out there. If you're a doctor in the health professions, you know what I'm talking about. First, do no harm. People will get that in your head. First, do no harm. That no physical harm, just no emotional harm. That's my duty. And I've been lucky enough that I've learned about psychiatry. Look it up. Northern Virginia Mental Health Institute. That's where I did my training, my rotations for psychiatry, through my years of, both chiropractic and medical. That's a mental health issue that Jason's dealing with. It's a weakness. It's not having enough self-worth. It's his worth, he's pushing on Dy'mond. Dy'mond becomes this thing that he possesses. So he sees Dy'mond as a possession. So she has to do exactly what he wants when he wants. But you know what? In front of me, when I'm around, he's the coolest dude. He always shakes my hand, very courteous. When he's around Dy'mond's mom, same way. He treats Denzel nice or whatever. But the person whom he should show the most affection and love towards, which is Dy'mond, he's not able to do that because he sees her as his possession. So if his possession will not do what he wants, then he has to make his possession do what he wants. That's all psychiatry, people. And I know people are saying, oh, call the police or whatever. Let me tell you something about calling the police. It's not that I don't believe in the authority in policing. I do believe in them. Most of the cops out there, most of the police out there are good people. Just like most of you out there are good people. Most of them are. But just like every other profession, some of us have our issues. Sometimes it's a personal issue that we bring into our profession, into our job. So growing up in New Jersey, I've had my run-ins with the police. And as you guys know, Dy'mond drive a really nice car, really fancy car for a Sweet 16 and everything else. And let me tell you something about that, by the way. I didn't just go out there and spend so much money on a car as her present, to give her as a present, and not make sure. Like, let me tell you, the minute that I drove that car out of the dealer, I took it straight to the shop to customize that car. You're never going to see another car the same color as that car. So I'm not going to do all this flashy stuff and not make sure there's protection. Her car is full of security, cameras, you name it, audio, video. And I told Dy'mond, I will not get into your private business. This is for your security. So when you think you don't see cameras, they're there. Talking about our house, alarm systems, we don't go with just one alarm system. We don't go the videos, the cameras, and everything that's around my house. Those of you that's been to the house, you've seen. You know why this is all about my kids, Dy'mond and Denzel. I will do anything to protect them. Mostly them, because their mother, of course, my job is to protect her too. Doesn't matter if we have our disagreements or whatever it is. I am always there to protect the family that I've created, their friends, anybody that's around me. So I took an oath to not do harm. Have I done harm? Yeah, I have. Sometimes not towards my family, by the way, not towards people that I know, but if somebody come for me, you best believe I'm gonna come back for you. If you touch me, I'm defending myself. I talked to Dy'mond. It took a while for her to finally listen. And I said to Dy'mond, this is how we're going to handle this.